Right now, as you're watching this video, someone is making money from your attention. Every swipe, every notification, every advertisement, every late-night purchase, every impulse you couldn't resist, someone profits from it. But here's the part nobody tells you. The biggest reason most people never become wealthy isn't because they don't work hard. It's because they're trapped inside a system that quietly trains them to spend before they think. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that for the last 10 years, almost every financial decision you made wasn't entirely your own. Sounds unbelievable? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see the invisible force that's quietly keeping millions of people poor, and you might recognize it in your own life. When you were a child, nobody sat you down and explained how money really works. School taught you algebra, history, and geography, but almost nobody taught you how debt grows, why investing matters, or how advertising changes the way your brain makes decisions. So you entered adulthood believing that earning more money would automatically solve your financial problems. It sounds logical until you realize millions of people with high incomes are still living paycheck to paycheck. The problem isn't always income. Sometimes it's the invisible prison built around your habits. Think about your average day. Before breakfast, you've probably already seen dozens of advertisements. Your phone suggests products you never planned to buy. Social media convinces you that everyone else is living a better life. Streaming platforms recommend another episode. Online stores remind you about the items sitting in your cart. None of this happens by accident. Entire industries spend billions of dollars studying one question: how can we make people spend more? Because every extra minute of your attention has value, just not to you. Now imagine two people earning exactly the same salary. Every month they receive identical paychecks. The first person immediately upgrades their lifestyle. Better phone, better car, more subscriptions, more monthly payments. By the end of each month, almost nothing remains. The second person lives almost the same way they did before the raise. Instead of upgrading their lifestyle, they quietly buy assets that grow over time. 5 years later, both people worked equally hard, but one owns freedom while the other owns expensive bills. So here's a question almost nobody asks. If working harder automatically made people rich, why are millions of hardworking people still struggling financially? Maybe the answer isn't hidden inside your paycheck. Maybe it's hidden inside your daily decisions. Every dollar that enters your life asks one silent question: will you spend me today, or will you let me build your tomorrow? That question seems small, but the way you answer it, day after day, quietly determines whether you remain trapped or eventually become free. Have you ever noticed how excited you feel right before buying something you've wanted for days? Your heart beats faster. You imagine how happy you'll feel once it's finally yours. But then, something strange happens. A few days later, that excitement disappears. The expensive shoes become just another pair of shoes. The newest phone becomes ordinary. Scientists call this hedonic adaptation. Your brain quickly gets used to what once felt extraordinary. Companies understand this better than most people do. They don't just sell products, they sell the feeling of becoming someone new. And once that feeling fades, they're already waiting with the next upgrade. Imagine running on a treadmill that becomes faster every time you run harder. That's what the modern financial system often feels like. You work overtime to earn more money. Then rent increases. Inflation makes groceries more expensive. Friends upgrade their lifestyles, and suddenly your old car doesn't feel good enough anymore. You earn more than ever before, yet somehow feel further away from financial freedom. The race never ends because it keeps moving just fast enough to make you believe the next paycheck will finally solve everything. Long before social media existed, people compared themselves to their neighbors. Today, They compare themselves to millions of strangers every single day. You see luxury cars, dream vacations, designer clothes, and beautiful homes. What you don't see are the loans, the debt, and the sleepless nights. Without realizing it, your brain quietly changes its definition of normal. And when your definition of normal becomes more expensive, your financial future becomes more fragile. Here's one of the biggest financial illusions in the modern world. Expensive doesn't always mean wealthy. A luxury car might belong to the bank. A designer watch may have been bought with debt. A beautiful house could come with decades of monthly payments. Real wealth is often invisible. It quietly grows in investments, businesses, retirement accounts, and assets that most people never notice. The people trying hardest to look rich are often sacrificing the very thing they're trying to appear to have. From the moment you wake up until the moment you fall asleep, hundreds of invisible financial decisions quietly shape your future. A daily coffee, another subscription, an impulse purchase, a late-night shopping habit. Individually, they seem harmless. Together, repeated over years, they decide whether you build wealth or remain trapped. Becoming wealthy rarely begins with earning $1 million. It begins with winning the tiny battles that almost nobody notices. Every financial decision begins with a story. I worked hard. I deserve this. It's only one purchase. I'll save next month. These stories feel logical because they're coming from your own mind. But your brain isn't designed to make perfect financial decisions. It's designed to keep you comfortable. Saving feels like sacrifice today. Spending feels like reward today. If you never question those stories, they'll quietly write your financial future. The people who build lasting wealth ask different questions. They don't ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask, "Will this make me more valuable 5 years from now?" Those questions may sound similar, but they lead to completely different lives. Modern society rewards appearances, but attention and wealth are not the same thing. Many people spend years trying to look successful before they become successful. Real wealth doesn't need applause. It grows quietly while everyone else is busy chasing approval. People who achieve financial freedom eventually build systems that work while they sleep. Investments grow, businesses generate income, skills create opportunities. At first, those systems seem small, but over time, they become powerful. Eventually, money begins creating more money than your daily effort ever could. The invisible force keeping millions of people poor isn't one person or one company. It's the combination of habits, emotions, advertising, comparison, and short-term thinking that quietly shapes everyday decisions. The good news is that the same mind capable of trapping you can also set you free. Every time you pause before an impulse purchase, every time you invest instead of consume, every time you choose tomorrow over today, the invisible force becomes weaker. There comes a moment when everything changes. It's the day you stop asking, "What can I buy?" and start asking, "What can I build?" From that moment, every dollar becomes a seed instead of a reward. Every hour becomes an investment. Every skill becomes an asset. Wealth doesn't begin when your bank account reaches a certain number. It begins when your mindset starts chasing freedom instead of comfort. Your future won't remember how much money you wanted to have. It will remember the decisions you made when nobody was watching. Maybe money was never your biggest problem. Maybe distraction was. Maybe comparison was. Maybe fear was. Or maybe the invisible force wasn't outside you at all. Maybe it was hidden inside the habits you repeated every single day. The good news is that habits can change. Every wealthy person started with one small decision that nobody noticed. Your first step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be different from yesterday. If this video changed the way you think about money, don't let it become just another video you watched and forgot. Take one lesson from today and apply it this week, because information doesn't change lives. Action does. And if you want more cinematic documentaries about money, psychology, success, and human behavior, subscribe now. Your journey toward financial freedom doesn't begin when you become rich. It begins with the very next decision you make.